BBC News with Sue Montgomery. President Biden has said there's no excuse for Americans to be unvaccinated after the US registered a global record of 1 million new coronavirus cases in a day. He said it was now a pandemic of the unvaccinated and urged those already vaccinated to get boosted.
Booster shots work. They significantly increase the protection. They provide the highest level of protection against Omicron. Booster shots are free, they're safe, and available, and at over 90,000 sites. We have added sites, added hours, added appointments, added walk-in capacity. We have booster shots for every American in the country.
A judge in New York says he will decide soon whether or not to dismiss a civil case accusing Britain's Prince Andrew of sexual assault. The case, brought by Virginia Giuffre, alleges that as a teenager she was forced to have sex with the prince by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Neda Tawfik has more on the arguments put forward by the prince, who has always denied any wrongdoing.
What he's saying is that he is covered. He has immunity under a settlement agreement that was reached by Virginia Giuffre and Jeffrey Epstein in Florida in 2009. In court, his lawyer said that it's unquestionable that the Duke of York could have been sued at that time in that case, and therefore he qualifies as a potential other defendant that is covered in this agreement from any further legal action. And so essentially what he's trying to do is get this case thrown out on a technicality here.
The Polish authorities have signed 3 major contracts to construct a $400 million barrier along part of the border with Belarus. The decision to build the fence followed a surge in migrants trying to enter illegally from Belarus. The barrier will be equipped with cameras and motion sensors. The authorities in Saudi Arabia say they suspect an explosion that destroyed a French support truck at the Paris-Dakar rally may have been a terror attack. The blast on Thursday left the rally driver, Philippe Boutron, with serious leg injuries. This report from Mike Thompson.
The explosion happened soon after the French Sodacar's support vehicle left the team's hotel in Jeddah en route to the start of the race stage. The blast blew a hole through the seat where driver Philippe Boutron had been sitting. Mr. Boutron, who was scheduled to compete in his 9th rally, suffered serious leg injuries and has undergone surgery at a local military hospital. While Saudi authorities investigate suspected terrorist links to the blast, the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs has urged its citizens there to exercise maximum vigilance.
World News from the BBC. The United States, Norway, Britain and the EU have warned the Sudanese military against appointing their own prime minister, saying it would risk plunging the nation into conflict. The former Prime Minister, Abdallah Hamdok, resigned on Sunday amid political deadlock and widespread protests resulting from October's military coup. South African investigators have handed over the first instalment of a long-awaited report on corruption at the heart of the state under former President Jacob Zuma. Receiving the report, the current President, Cyril Ramaphosa, said it was a watershed moment in the fight to end state corruption, which he said had caused a devastating loss of confidence in the country's leaders. Dozens of Guatemalan soldiers and police officers have withdrawn from an area where residents from rival villages killed each other last month. On Sunday, the security forces were attacked by local people in the village of Nahuala. Here's our Americas editor, Leonardo Rocha.
The authorities said the decision to pull out was aimed at avoiding further violence. They said leaders of the indigenous communities involved in a century-old land dispute asked them to leave, having promised to keep the situation under control. The move has been criticized in Guatemala and described as a sign of government weakness. 2 weeks ago, President Alejandro Yamatei declared a stage of siege in the region following the deaths of at least 13 people in a clash between the 2 neighboring villages. The restrictions will remain in place for at least another 2 weeks, but it's unlikely they will be enforced.
A dog in Croatia has been credited with saving the life of an injured hiker by keeping him warm for 13 hours until he was rescued. Gurga Burkic fell while out hiking in the Velebit mountain range and was unable to move. The dog lay on top of Mr. Burkic until rescuers arrived. BBC News.